everybody.
Hello.
My name's Holly Lynn Lovett, and I'm the Adult and Information Services Librarian at Leduc Public Library.
And I am Rhonda, and I'm the Youth Services Coordinator here at the library.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be doing some painting. I'm so excited. Rhonda here is going to be teaching the how-to, and we're going to be following. So I'm very excited about this, a little bit nervous, but we're going to be doing it. So yes,
You should have everything you need from your kit. So
Yes.
we're going to step to the side now, so you'll just be seeing our hands.
Yes, definitely.
But the main part is that you're seeing what we are doing.
Yes.
Okay. So you should have your plain canvas, and the first thing you're going to need is a pencil and a ruler. Because before you start any sort of a painting, you always want to plan what you're going to do. Don't just go, well, I mean, maybe when you're experienced, you could just kind of start going. But even Leonardo da Vinci has pages and pages of sketchbook, just sketching and getting his composition right. And that's the main thing, is the composition. You don't want to get it on there and go, oh, that should have been higher, that should have been lower, that's not right.
Oh, yes.
So this painting, I already did one, so that was great practice. So I'm going to help you get it laid out the way you want to get it started.
Perfect.
So take your ruler. I'm going to use the inches. And each canvas in height is about 11 inches. Don't want to be particular. You see it's a little bit less, but 11. So half of 11 is 5.5. If you draw a line right in half, well, you're going to run out of room for your trees. Plus, a pleasing composition to the eye in art is not centered.
Okay.
You try to do it offset a little bit. So I'm going to take the 5.5 mark, I'm going to come down 1 inch and put a little mark with my pencil at 4.5. So this is what's going to be the water. This is the sky where your trees are. Would be, I guess you could say, kind of your horizon line.
Okay.
So do the same thing on the other side.
There we go.
4.5 inches from the bottom. Make sure you don't have your ruler upside down. I've done that before.
Oh, I could do that. All right.
And then
4.5.
the rulers aren't quite long enough, but you want to connect those two dots somehow. And if you can keep your pencil light,
Okay.
very light-handed, the better, because you're not going to erase.
That's hard.
It's hard to erase. Yes, we all have a tendency to press really hard. Although it should be covered up with paint, but just to be on the safe side, I always try to do my background sketching very, very light. So you should have a line that's a little bit lower than the middle of the canvas.
Sorry.
Take your time, take your time, because if the people at home are following along, they're going to be going at the same pace.
There we are, and all the way over.
Although they have the nice convenience of being able to pause.
Yes.
And rewind.
I don't want to cover it up. There we go. All
Okay,
right.
so the next step is I want to measure out where my trees are going to go. See, the lines are kind of the middle of the trees.
Yeah.
If I just start with a tree here, tree here, tree here, I might get to the end and I've got all this open space. So now I've got all kinds of trees and I don't have room to paint them.
Okay.
Or I could start at one end and spread them out and I end up with 4 trees instead of the 8 that I want. It is 8, right?
3, 6, 7, 8. Yes.
Okay, so what I've previously done is the math of dividing this line up. And what it is every 1.5 inches, you're going to put a little tick mark.
Okay.
And that's where the stem of our tree, or the tree trunk, is going to go.
Oh, just a minute. I'm doing centimeters.
Take
Let's try inches.
Yes.
All right.
And when I did these, you'll see the 1.5. It ends up being on the end that it's about 1 3/4 left over here. But don't worry about it, because again, if you do like it perfect, it doesn't look natural. Because in nature, you're not going to see a forest where every tree is laid out perfect. So don't worry about that. Plus, the trees are going to thicken out as we go along.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent.
Very good.
There we go.
I should count 2. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay,
Excellent.
perfect. So the next thing we're going to do is we want to draw our tree, kind of the trunk of the tree, so you know where it's going to be.
Okay.
And we don't want them all the same height.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with this one. You can just kind of eyeball just to make sure your ruler's straight, so I don't have a tree going this way and a tree going that way. I mean, maybe it's a windy day and I want to go that way. That's up to you. But for purposes, we're going to go straight up and down.
Okay.
And remember to keep your line light.
And all different sizes.
All different
right?
sizes. So that one's going to kind of be a medium tree. And then I'm going to copy this one. You don't have to. You can do a tall tree. And once I get these lines on here, you don't have to follow it exactly. I might start this tree and go, oh, I want to make it taller, and you can add to it. This is more of a guide, remember, than anything. Once you get painting, you'll get to see what you really like, how you want it to be.
Yes, when you're first starting off, and if you're anything like me, you like to be able to see it.
Exactly. That helps a lot.
Yes.
And I've even seen very famous artists that do this, draw on their canvas first.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh. Makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Short one there.
It doesn't, it's like planning, right? It's like
Yeah.
anything. You want to plan ahead and make sure you get it how you want it. So they're very light lines. That way if I decide this tall tree I have here, I only want it to go up to here, I can come back and erase it. Or say my paint comes out thin, I stretch it out and it's thinned right out, you won't see that line through it. Once you're done that, you're done with your ruler and your pencil.
Yep, I'm just going to do that one a little bit longer.
You take your time. Because remember at home, they can fast forward.
Yes.
Or they can be going along with you.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
So shall we start with our first color, Holly?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
This is the stressful part, is the
I know.
first tree.
Well, wiggle out your hands.
Yep, wiggle. Okay, just remember, loosey-goosey, nice and good, and easy enough. Okay.
Yes.
So the red.
Okay.
So you're going to want a blob, and I don't know quite how to tell you the size. I can show you. I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to put on that much.
Okay.
How big
you.
would you say that is? About a dime around type thing. And you can always add more paint afterward, but it's harder to take away.
Well, and I always remember you telling me, you don't need much, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Less
so,
is more.
yes, less is more. There we go.
One thing, I've taught junior high school art,
Yeah.
and one thing they do is they tend to think, I need lots and lots of paint. They don't understand that it goes a long way. So beginner painters, it is a common mistake. So remember to put on less and build on top, build layers. Almost any artist in the world is going to say that.
Okay.
You're better to layer
Mm-hmm.
and build up and start with less.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so the first thing you want to do, Holly,
Mm-hmm.
is we're going to go up, and then whatever's left we're going to drag down, because we want the bottom to look like a reflection. So you want it to be kind of dry in against the canvas.
Okay.
So I'm going to start by just kind of grabbing the paint and slowly going up the stick or the tree trunk
Okay.
to the top. And don't worry about leaving a big glob of paint at the bottom, because we're going to constantly come down and grab from that paint to do our boughs as we go up the tree. And just kind of tap it along as you go up.
Mhm.
Yeah. And don't be worried if it's kind of a little squiggly or off trees. Naturally, that's the way nature is. It's not totally symmetrical, right? Okay, so then we're going to take the paint from the bottom, fill your brush, and just kind of tap it from side to side. And if there's little pieces, like I got a little dot over here, excellent, leave it. Don't think, oh, that's not connected.
That's not supposed to be that.
That's right. It kind of gives it its character in the end. And you're just going to slowly wiggle your brush from side to side, tapping the canvas as you go up. And you can always fill in where you want to.
Yeah, I might do that.
And don't go too, like obviously it's going to be wider at the bottom, right along your horizon line. You want to have lots of paint. And don't be worried if the paint is globbed on there. Actually, that's kind of nice to give it some texture. If one side has more paint than the other, that's fine. And as you get to the top, before you get to the very top of your tree, about half an inch below, you're going to stop with your boughs, or your branches. And I'm just going to fill it up. And as you can see, I'm already noticing I've got more paint on there than I want.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of extra on there.
Right. So your first tree is really a good
Blobby?
marker for that. Yeah, a tester.
Oh, there we go. That worked. Oh, I do like that.
Yeah, it's
Woohoo.
too easy, right? And the nice thing is about art is people tend to forget that it doesn't have to look exactly how it is when you see it, like every little detail, because your brain will fill it in.
Yeah.
You know
yeah.
that's a tree.
Yeah.
It doesn't
totally.
have huge detail. You can't see every needle on it. You can't see everything, but it's a tree. Because the mind's going to tell you what it is.
Be a bit blobby there, but that's
It's
okay.
the same with if I had a hand coming out of my picture here,
Yeah.
you're going to know that there's a person attached to that hand. Like,
Yes.
your brain knows
that.
these things. They recognize these shapes.
That's totally true.
Yes. So I'm going to grab this and get some
Okay.
paint off of here because
Okay.
I've got too much on my
Globs on
brush.
there. Okay.
And because we're gonna drag downward now,
Okay.
and I want it to look like a reflection of water. So I want my brush to be quite dry. I'm not gonna grab a lot of paint when I drag it down.
So we won't grab it all.
Yes, and
Okay.
I'm just gonna rub really, really good here because as you can see, my brush, all the little bristles separate.
Yeah.
And the more you rub
Okay.
it, the drier it gets, less paint, and then it goes back to its normal hairy kind of shape. And then I'm just going to kind of grab and just drag it down like that, a reflection of the water.
Grab and drag.
Mm-hmm.
Grab and grab you.
And just drag it down. Ah, that looks really nice, nice and straight, really good. And I've got lots of globs of paint right here still
Yeah.
left in my tree. I'm just gonna leave that. It'll dry, it'll give it some
Okay.
texture, give it some character, and that's fine. Might need some globs up a bit.
I like that.
So how you feeling about it, Holly?
Good.
Yeah. That looks very nice,
My
isn't
first
it?
go, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, too easy, eh? I have no complaints
I'm
about
gonna
your
go
happy little
one
tree
more.
there.
A little bit longer.
Yeah, you can make it quite thicker, thinner, whatever you think. However you
I
want
tend to do that,
reflection.
you know, too much and just right, and then I do something. I'm like, oh, why did I do that?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
well, it's good. It's
That's,
good.
yeah. One thing about art is the mistakes sometimes work out really nice.
That's true.
And at the end, you can see
Yeah.
we've got white along here, so don't worry about how the tree connects to the water right now,
Okay.
because we're gonna come along and kind of fill that in.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make sure that my globs of red are along the bottom.
Okay.
And now, we're going to get our water and wash our brush, because we don't
So
want, if we go into the blue now with red on our brush, obviously we're going to get purple.
Yes.
And I'm saving my purple tree till the end. And I want a nice blue brush.
Now, is there any colors that should be next to each other, like, or shouldn't be next to each other, or?
It's really how you think. I would, like, we've got the blues here, two different blues.
Yeah.
And it's got the yellow in the middle.
Yeah.
If you had two blues, it just wouldn't be as pleasing to the eye.
Okay.
And the same with the greens. So you want to space out your actual
Similar
colors.
Okay.
But as far as colors next to each other, no, whatever you think would look pleasing. You can even pick colors that match your home.
Okay,
If you're gonna
yeah.
hang it up in your living room, and your living room is, say, teal and orange, well,
Yeah.
you want mostly teals and oranges and grays, nice neutral colors that go with it.
So if you did this again, you wouldn't have to like choose these colors.
That's right, yes. You can choose whichever colors match your home, or this one is nice, it's nice and bright.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like it.
So
Okay,
now my brush is back to being a nice
Okay.
fan.
It's a bit reddish, but it's
Yeah,
that's
but
all right.
it's okay because when I'm rubbing it on my thing, I can
Yeah.
see on
Okay,
my, what do you
yeah.
call it, paper towel. I don't see any more red,
Okay.
so I know I'm good. Plus a little wee bit probably isn't going to change the color a lot.
Perfect.
So now we need the blue, Holly, the
Right.
light blue, if you
The
can
bright
find
blue.
it. for us,
I
please.
can. Do you want me to try dabbing it on?
Sure.
My turn. Woo!
Now remember, I mean, I've got this one a lot here. It worked out nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming out on its own. So you can put the same amount if you want, and then you can still have that texture. You just have to know how
Okay.
to work with
You
it.
want me to put yours on?
Yeah, sure, please.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Right on that
Mhm.
dot. There. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
That's
perfect.
enough.
A layer bubble. It's okay. Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
And now the same thing. So this blue's kind of going to go into that tree. I
Yeah.
can decide right now if I want it to go behind the red tree
Okay.
or in front of the red tree.
So if it was behind, you wouldn't do
Then I
much
would
into
do
it.
That's right. I would do up to the edge of the red.
Okay.
But if it's in front, then I would kind of go over through the red. I'm thinking I'm going to not go over into the red because then I get red paint on my brush.
Oh.
So I'm just
Okay.
going to dry it up a bit. And again, there's no right or wrong. Doesn't have to be totally straight.
Do you still get nervous about, like, as a beginner or painter here, I get nervous. Do you get nervous or?
Probably not so much anymore. Now these type of paintings I haven't done a lot of.
Okay.
So yes. Especially when I'm trying to teach. But not so much because when you really do a lot of art, you get to realize like mistakes are not the end of the world. And you just kind of go with the flow and work with it. If you make a mistake, well, change it so it works, or you can start again. But I tend to usually just paint over it. Especially painting's nice because it's very forgiving. You can let it dry and then paint right over it.
Okay. Now, does all paint let you do that?
No. Oil
Okay.
paints, although oil paints you can layer, they're a lot thicker,
Yeah.
but they take a long time to dry. So if you want to do layers, you're going to take a long time to do an oil painting.
Oh, okay.
And then you can see all the little dots and everything you've got outside, because the brush, the way it is, it's not forgiving in that way. We'll stick a stray bristle, we'll give a big blue paint lid, blob out the side.
Finding mine a little blobby.
Yeah, it's okay. And then I'm going to use just the corner of my brush here to do the top one.
Okay.
It's turning out nice, huh? Is it as easy as you thought, or
Oh
hard
my
as you
goodness,
thought?
I was petrified.
Okay.
I'm not a painter, and I'm not familiar with it, and I tend to use too much, so I screwed up a little bit. There is no screwing up here, Holly. I'm
I
gonna
did this
do a
on
bit more.
purpose so you can see. I'm not too worried about it. But when you drag straight down, because I dragged and then I went back up just to show you what would happen. Now suddenly it's not so much of a reflection as now I've thickened it down here.
Oh.
So you just want to grab and straight down.
Okay.
Straight down.
Just one sec. I just got a few things going on here.
Mm-hmm.
This is
really
really
nice.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. This one's going behind the left. Okay, and then we'll go like this and straight down.
Yeah, exactly.
I like you very calm with it, so that's good for me.
And remember, see how I like how your red goes farther down than your blue.
Okay.
When the picture's all done,
Yeah.
it will make it look like the blue tree is farther behind the
Oh,
red
okay,
one.
yeah.
So
Which I
that's
do
okay
want it
too.
for. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
That's okay too. So not everything, like I say, has to line up and be perfect and symmetrical.
Well, I think that's the kind of coloring I'm used to. I'm
Yes.
not used to doing, yeah.
Well, and unfortunately, when we're little, I think they're getting away from that a lot more now in teaching art. But we're always told, the tree has to be green. It can't be purple.
Oh.
The cow has to be brown. It can't be bright green. Because
Yes.
but yet in art, that's just sometimes part of the fun is to play on it.
Yeah, that's totally true.
But then if I were to walk into a forest, not every tree is going to look the exact same.
Uh-huh.
They're not all lined up in a straight line, so it's good to have it each one a little different. So dry your brush off really, really well till you don't see any more blue on the paper until it's nice and fluffy again.
Mine's fluffy. There, I'm going to try a bit more.
Yeah, rub it a lot.
There we go.
Okay.
There we are. Oops, enough.
And now,
Yellow. Shall I give this a go?
and art just isn't fun unless you get paint all over your
Oh,
hands.
this one's not open. Let's try this. Woo!
Yeah, so you have to be careful with those little tubes. You guys are lucky because we supplied you with the paint. You can scoop it out and put it on there.
Now, do you want a big one or a smaller one?
Same as yours is good. Yeah, because this is going to be a shorter tree, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to have quite a bit left over on mine. That's okay.
But again, it's good because
Yeah.
then it gives you the texture.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So once you do the first two, you think it's easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it, now you could probably just whip right through them
Whoosh.
without.
Well, I don't know about whipping. I'm not that good at
But
it.
your nerves must be calming down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're just dabbing and working up the tree. Now the yellow, I can kind of see my pencil through, which I'm not liking, but keep in mind we're going to put white, which is, I think our white is a thicker paint.
Uh-huh.
So you can have white that will cover that pencil mark. If you really don't like it and you don't think it will cover it well, you can just take some paint from the bottom and just dab it on thicker. But like I say, I think the white will get rid of it. So my yellow tree is just going to be a little tree, kind of hiding there. And then pull down. Very nice. Very nice. I love the bright colors.
Me
And
too.
now we get to wash our brush again. So now we're moving right along.
There we are. So that's number 3.
Yeah.
So when you paint, how long does it usually take you to create something?
Well, I like to do people,
Okay.
and I like charcoal drawing, not so much painting.
Okay.
And that can take, it takes days. Because
Oh,
you
does it?
do a couple hours, then you walk away from it, you come back, oh, I didn't like that, so you change it, and it takes a long time. You have to have a lot of patience. And there's lots of times I'll draw my face, I get my nose on there, my nose is absolutely perfect,
Yeah.
but it's in the wrong spot.
Oh no.
I have to erase that nose and start over again. So it's kind of frustrating that way, but I'm used to doing that. So I understand from doing it so much.
Yeah.
Erase the nose, you'll be happier.
Okay.
If I left it
just
there,
go with it.
well, now it's just throwing the whole thing off. So
Okay.
better just to get rid of it and start over.
I can see that. Do you? Is it okay if I go ahead?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Let's see. I'll try a bit less on this one.
I really like oil paints. Oil paints are
No.
a lot of fun, but they're expensive to get into because
Oh,
they're
expensive.
expensive. The cleaning materials, everything. It's quite pricey, but they're very forgiving because they take days to draw.
Yeah.
So you can take days to do it and come back and change and remold and work with the paint
Yes.
that's still wet.
So oil pastels.
Yes.
Is that anything similar to oil paint?
Not in the way that it's forgiving. Once you get it on
Okay.
your canvas, it's pretty
There.
much there. It is more, it's easier to smudge
Okay.
and blend your colors, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I haven't worked a lot with oil pastels. I have mostly with young kids.
Okay.
They're very fun, very bright colors, very beautiful pastels. Acrylics are nice to work with too because they're thick,
Yeah.
but they do dry fast. Watercolors takes a lot of practice because they are very unforgiving.
And I think watercolors are more for children, right? Or like, cause they wash, right? Is that why people use watercolors with kids?
A lot of artists use watercolors.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I suppose
guess
with
so, yeah.
kids because it's the colors are bright, you just wet it and put it on there.
Yeah.
You get the patty, the little cakes, so the kids aren't going to dry them up and spill them.
Okay. Yeah.
That's probably why.
And
would
see, I
say.
think I've done more with that and not done as well with that.
Uh-huh.
And so that might be some of my reason of
Watercolors are hard. They're hard. You can't blend them. I mean, you can with practice. They're very easy to use once you know how to use them.
Yeah.
Like these things, I guess.
Yeah, you have to see. I've never had any training per se.
Right.
Well, maybe in elementary school, but that was a
Yeah.
while ago.
Simple things, and then again, other people might find watercolors. They might start using them and have no trouble right off the start. I myself,
Yeah.
I haven't used them much. I guess it's like anything, right? The more you use it, the better you get. The more comfortable, the more you can do with them. So, I just haven't used them a lot. I do like them. I think they look very nice. You having fun?
I am.
You liking it?
Well, you know, I have to say with our kits, so our library kits, we've been doing quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Rhonda has gotten me into more the drawing and the painting and I've actually enjoyed it. Usually I'm librarian. I tend to read when I relax, but I've gotten into coloring.
Yeah, it's and that's what people have to remember is it's for relaxing,
Yes.
not to get uptight about it. It doesn't look just like I wanted to.
Now, is it relaxing to draw with my children or 6 and 2? I don't know.
It's a whole different
I kind of
story.
like doing it by myself, but I do like coloring
Yeah.
with my kids as well, of course.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
not quite the relaxing as.
Yeah, that's right. It's funny because when I have a program and I have a lot of things going on, I'll usually have a coloring table
Yeah.
for the younger kids or a kid that just is bored with what I'm doing with them and they just want to go over and relax. Well, usually it's the parents that end up over at the coloring table doing the coloring.
Coloring.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's
All the
probably
mums
very
and dads
true.
and grown-ups sitting around doing their coloring, yeah.
Oh, the darker one, right?
Green, yes,
That one?
green. This is
Okay.
great. I've got you doing half my work for me here.
Uh-oh. I'm going to do it again.
Oh yeah, they tend
Okay, here we
to.
go. Is there like a hint or just hold down?
I have not that I've
nope.
ever been aware of.
Okay, it's a small tree, Holly. Small tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yours is a longer one. You went different.
And I mean, you can get long, narrow canvases
Yeah. Oh,
too.
Cool.
And you
Yeah.
can put all kinds of trees.
Oh, that would be nice in the living room.
Yeah. So once you get used to the first one,
That would be pretty.
yeah.
I'm gonna see. Okay.
Really long one now. See, and I can tell this green paint. Do you find it a little different
So,
when you're working with it?
is it wetter?
I find it not as thick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just gonna reach over here
Sorry.
and grab a little bit more because I've got a long tree here, but they're all, even though it's from the same brand, unless you buy real expensive paints, they're just not overly consistent that way.
Is it the color or is it the just
The pigments they put in them has a lot to do with it,
Okay.
and just the quality of the paints.
Now, if you're starting out, do you recommend going for the more expensive stuff, or?
I would tend to say get the cheaper ones.
Yeah.
Maybe have the expensive ones if you're planning on keeping with it, so you can practice with your cheaper paints.
Yeah.
Because like I say, it's like doing sketching. If I was gonna do this and hang it in my house, I've never done it before, watching a tutorial online or something, I would tend to practice a couple of times first on something.
Yeah.
And then use your good ones.
Well, we have an art wall at the back of the library, and we just recently had the staff decorate it with an art piece about winter. And I did a fox, and I had to thank you, but I had to do him twice because I did him on one I had some canvases, and I was at home by myself, just kind of had relaxing music on.
Nice.
Did one, didn't like him. Did number 2, and I really liked him.
And sometimes you'll do one, and then you do another one, and the first one was the best one.
Yes, yeah.
You just never know. But yeah, no, he turned out great.
It was fun. It is fun.
It's very relaxing if you let it be. You can't get uptight about it. You just have to see, like, I've got all these dots happening here. I'm just gonna leave them, and it'll all come together.
It's gorgeous.
Did you do a tall? Oh, you did a short green one.
Yes,
yeah. No differences.
Orange. I'm quite excited about orange.
Orange. You like that color?
My husband's favorite color, so I always he always tells me he likes it. So anything orange, I'm like, oh.
It's not a typical favorite color of people, is it?
No.
Most people like blues, reds, pink, purple.
Nice and bright though.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice, happy color.
He also loves tigers, so.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Some colors are very warm. The oranges and reds and yellows are, you'll usually see them in warm settings or warm colors like the sun.
Yeah.
And then you've got blues and greens and purples that are cool colors, good for winter scenes.
I'm hoping this orange will work. Let's see, okay, I've got a fairly tall one. Oh no!
Oh, that's
okay.
a runny one.
There you go.
Maybe you should put your canvas flat.
Okay.
Woo. Sorry,
So
camera.
if you have any
flat. Now we did not use this type of paint in the kits, so they should be okay with all layers, right? But ours is just. See, and this is again just different paints have different. What's the word I'm looking for? Just different results, I guess. Yeah.
What is it in paint that makes it thick?
I don't know if it's like a water thing or I'm not sure.
I wonder where they make paints.
It's a good question. I wonder if we could see that on one of those how it's made shows.
Yeah, totally.
See how they make paint. Would be kind of neat to see. How do they get it in the tubes?
Yeah, I know. That is a good question. How come we can't put it back in there?
That's
ourselves?
right. That's what I mean. Squeeze out more than you need because once it's out, it's not going back in.
Smaller holly.
Now, there's my orange. Hopefully it doesn't run. I think I've cleaned it out enough. And then with these trees, if you've ever watched painters like Bob Ross, these are you can add waves and things like that, but you got to remember it's all when they paint them, they'll paint like what am I trying to say? Grass, say, and it's just lines, but it looks like grass because that's what your mind will see it and go, oh, it looks like grass. So you don't have to worry about the whole details. So these actually types of paintings are quite easy to do.
Yeah.
And quite easy to practice at and get very good at very quickly.
I've seen some of the YouTube videos, or they say it's going to be this, and at first it's a dot, and it's like, well, that's not going to be that.
That's right. And then they start pushing paint everywhere, and then it just all comes together.
Yes,
and all they did was tap and move and everything, and they didn't actually like paint, draw details. But your mind knows what it is. It's the same if you look at a lot of the Impressionist painting. They're the group that paint with dots.
Oh,
it's
yes.
all dots and light.
Yeah.
They're heavy into
some ponds
reflection.
And
Monet is ponds, and Degas is ballerinas and stuff.
Yes.
And so you look at a face, and it's really just a shape of a face. And they might have a little brown smudge where the eye might go. But your mind knows that's a ballerina.
Yeah.
But if you really look at it, it's just smudges, and you don't need the nose and the eyelashes and the freckles, and you don't need all that detail necessarily.
Oh, what makes that really cool is that they're able to distinguish that, you know, like, I mean, they have, like, you know, I, just as a beginner, I can't, like, putting that dot there, I can't say, that's a face. When I back up, it's interesting how artists, can, like, just see it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Ooh.
They know how you will see it.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll know that, okay, Holly will know that is a face.
I can do that. Yeah, medium sized one. No, I just got paint all over my hands.
Yeah.
If I like
lots of paper towels. You have
Yeah.
lots still over there?
Yeah. Good. I don't want to touch my canvas and then have a big hand paw print on it.
And I find that's one of the biggest stressors with people who start art is I can't make it look realistic, but you know what? It doesn't need to look realistic.
Yeah.
It just has to look pleasing to the eye. A lot of the times, the way we see it in our mind and the way it comes out on the paper is not the same. Now, again, that's with practice. It's like, you know, no hockey player has gotten to where they are without years and years of practice. Anything is like that, including painting. The more you do, the better you will get.
I have to tell my daughter that for her piano.
Yeah.
You have to practice.
How long has she been taking piano lessons?
For about 2 years now.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
she must have improved already.
Yes, yeah, no, she totally, utterly has. Especially, you know, from that first start of she's come a long way.
So you have to remind her, remember
Yeah.
when you started.
Well, luckily, she had some concerts and we videotaped it on our phones so we can show her and be like,
So
look
she
at
can
this.
see it.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And it's there you go.
Ooh, we only have one more.
Has to be the perfect one. No.
See, when I look at this, I'm like, I kind of messed up over here, and I don't like this is dragged down too far. But you know what? When it's all done, it will come together. If we start nitpicking over every little thing that we can't fix anyway, because once it's on there, it's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. And
Yeah. And that's where oil paints come in. Oil paints, I could take white and I could feather that in and fix it, and it would stay wet for days, and I can, it's layers upon layers.
how does it stay wet for days? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I think I did that too much. I'm just gonna start going over all of it. No, Holly. Dabs. This one's a dabbing
Yes.
one more.
Yes. Yeah. I can see my orange is starting to run.
Oh no!
Take my little knife here. So it stops
Yes, we
running.
still have that. So what color is our last one?
Purple. Purple.
Fun. Oh, I have a tall purple.
I kind of like the bright colors, but I'd be curious to see how it would look if you did like that. Say your house has, like, what color is your living room? Do you have a theme?
Red, actually. Yeah,
Red?
kind of yeah. Kind
Okay.
Of, it's
So you could
gold.
do-
We have koi fish, kind of an Asianist feel.
Okay,
Features
nice.
in it, yeah.
So you could have, like, you could even do grays and blacks, and then have like one red tree.
Yeah.
It would look really cool. If
Yes,
you did
it
a
would
really
actually.
long
Yeah,
one,
see, that could look good.
that
Yeah.
would look really cool.
Yeah, that would actually.
Yeah. So you can play with this and do all different sorts of things.
Now, do we think this is going to be? This might be runny as well. Just because it's the same one as this.
Here, put some on here
Ah.
first, maybe.
That's a good idea. Let's see what's it gonna be like. Oh, maybe not. No, maybe not. No,
Okay,
it seems thick.
And if it was, then we could always take our knives and scoop it and put it on.
Oh, I
there
see.
Too, right?
Is it okay to do it this
Nope,
way?
that's
Put it
good
back
if
in
you
here?
think you can do it.
Maybe.
See, and acrylics are nice because they do stay wet for a while. So when we go back to the red tree with the white will blend in.
Not enough, or is okay? A bit more.
More, yeah, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Try that.
Actually, makes it look cute. You can take the both of them home and put one in either
Yeah.
child's
Yeah.
room.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Actually, Oliver would like that too.
Yeah. Oh, that purple's a nice color, purple. Yeah, you just rock back and forth, tapping. You can do this. The fan brushes make it whole lot easier, very nice. But you could do this with the normal brush as well.
It's like a smaller one kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know there was such a thing as fan brushes before this.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, what? What is this?
Bob Ross likes his fan brush.
Okay. And honestly, until I met you, Rhonda, I had never heard of that, which seems odd because it's so popular
Bob
now.
Ross.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's the younger generation right now seem to be, it's quite trending.
Okay.
And then my generation, which is just before your generation, was when he was actually on TV.
Okay.
So it was a big thing. Sunday, my grandmother would come out. We'd have a big turkey or roast beef dinner,
Yeah.
and then we would all sit down and watch Bob Ross paint.
Oh,
on
seriously?
PBS.
And did you guys paint with him, or did you just
No,
watch?
We just watched. He's fun to watch because he's very colorful. Like this tree, he'd do it. He'd go, and I can just see there's a happy little bird living in that tree right there. It's a happy little place. And he would imagine what's going on in the forest, and he was quite colorful.
Almost like a real story.
Yes, exactly.
And you said this was every Sunday?
Every Sunday it was on. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we would sit, even my brothers, when we were little, all and my grandmother and my parents, we would sit and we would watch a Bob Ross episode.
It's my Sunday evening, 6 o'clock, Walt Disney.
Yes, I remember Walt Disney,
That's where I was.
Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And they would only show parts of things. Remember they'd show like a little bit of Cinderella. Where
Really?
they show, yeah, it might have been the one I watched before you. And then they'd show a movie or something.
Or else I just thought that was the whole thing. I guess they have to get into an hour.
That was before you could just rent the movie or buy the movie.
I'm gonna switch up a bit. This is gonna be a nice big tree.
Oh yeah, love the purple. Lots of purple's good. And then I got my brush all dry, but I'm done with my fan brush.
Alright.
Ooh, nice.
Hey. Sorry.
It's amazing how they're both so different, but yet they're both good. Like
Yeah,
they're
I know,
both,
eh?
yeah.
Same colors,
Yeah.
same thing, but
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, this part is fun. Very simple, but very fun. It
Okay.
brings it all together.
So plate and knife.
Plate and knife. We've got plates we put our white on just so we can dip it in, and because before we squeezed it right onto the canvas. So I'm going to take and just put some paint on the edge of my brush, glob it right on there, my knife, and then you're just going to rub it in. Just so and once you do it once, then you'll realize, oh, I need more white than that. So.
And I'm just gonna go here.
And I just realized I was scooping it this way, and then when I take it, it's on the downside, so I can't see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start scooping the way that's not
Okay.
natural to me.
Okay.
I don't know how you're feeling about it.
Yeah, no, I was. Ooh.
And then I can see what I'm doing.
And I might have blobbed a bit too much.
No, but maybe not. You can take some off, or when it's done, it might all come together. And you're just dragging it along that horizon line first off, and don't be afraid if there's gaps. That's okay. I try to just drag through one tree at a time. Like, see, I drag this one. I got some of my orange. Although, hey, that's okay. Because now you're in the water, and water does kind of, with the reflections, it kind of melts all the colors together. And then I'm just going to come down in where we dragged it down and put some little splashes of white there, and it looks like just some foam in the water, some movement of the waves.
I have to make noises when I do this. Looking at my desk, have to make noises.
And take the white right out to the edge of the canvas.
Okay.
That's where your water goes.
Okay, now down a bit. Interesting.
And then the next thing I'm going to do is start doing the trunks of my trees with white. Now when I did this one, I think I put too much white. I'm not happy. So this is kind of the first one. Made my mistakes. I'm learning from them. I'm going to put just a little bit of white up the middle, and maybe not all the way up to the top.
Okay. Now you used an actual tool your first time, right?
Yes.
Is it different than using
I
the
think it worked
knife?
a little better. This knife, it's the teeth I'm not liking. So you know what? I'm going to use the other side of my blade of my
Okay.
knife, not the teeth part, and see how that works. See if that works better. Nope, I like my teeth better. Try it. Didn't like it. Okay. Now my white's getting all
Yeah, I know.
candy cane looking with my colors, but that's okay.
Almost up the middle.
Yeah, these knives are a little tricky. The paint seems to come off at the bottom, and then I can't drag it up. How are you doing? Not too bad.
I am remaining silent 'cause I'm not quite sure.
I think the trick is, see, I was putting a lot on. This is what I did with the palette knife that I had, an actual art tool, is I put a lot on and drag it up and it cut it slowly, but I'm finding it's making globby at the bottom.
Okay.
So I'm going to put a little bit on the end of my knife and just do little bits at a time. You'll have to go back and grab more paint off your little palette here more often, but I think it will turn out nicer in the long run. You can always drag paint up from the bottom of the tree too. And once you get them up where you want them, then you can drag it down into the water part too. I think one thing I should be doing here that I'm learning is maybe wiping my brush off before I go from tree to tree.
That's a good idea.
Because I'm getting, and you know like the yellow here, I've got all different colors, and that's not too bad. Especially not in the water part, because that's what water does. It reflects the colors and gives you all different shades and pretty colors. So I believe in the kits we're sending the knife home too, right? So
Yes.
this is good for us to practice with the knife. So my best advice to you at home is to do one tree at a time, one color, wipe your brush, go to the next color, and dip often. So you don't get too big of globs and it actually stretches.
There we go. I actually use the edge of it, and I like that way of doing it.
Okay, yeah.
Let's try that. No.
And then once you get the gist of how you want it, you get all the white in the trees, then you can just go over and kind of fill in any spots that you think need it. Just remember not to overdo it, because you can end up with too much, and then how do you take it off? The larger trees, you can kind of branch off the white off to the sides.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like there's branches. And I think I'm going to leave mine just like that. I love the colors. It's so bright.
They are nice. I love this green here. Actually, my wedding colors were purple, green, and orange.
Oh, really?
They were.
That's unique.
I'm like, it was different. And at first, when people heard, they're like, "What?" And then they saw the pictures, and they're like, "Oh,
That's
okay,
really
that looks
nice.
great."
Yeah, I'll have to see those pictures sometime.
Yes, I
'cause
should
I'm
bring them in.
curious now. Purple, green, and orange.
The green was kind of to make it pop, so it wasn't a huge amount of the green.
And was that because of the time of year? Was it a trending color at the time?
I think I just saw it somewhere, like, you'd seen the pictures, and I'm like, I like that, and I've always been like that. I think I told you before, I like colors that clash somewhat,
Yeah.
but go together.
Yeah.
Like, when I lived in Japan, they had some kimonos like that. They were really colors at first, you're like, what are they doing? And then you saw it on them, and they're like, wow, that looks
Looks
great.
really good, yeah.
So okay. Let's just see. I'm going to just leave you, I think. Yeah, there we go. Ta-da! Okay, so I got ears. That's awesome. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Rhonda.
You're welcome. Well, I hope everyone had fun at home.
Yes, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us.
And we just hope that you have fun with it.
Yeah, enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.